Donald Trump as an asset specifically put in place through coercion to weaken the United States in every way possible that you can imagine. Consistent behavior or inconsistent? And I also dare say not just Donald Trump has been compromised. I would say that an entire portion of the political landscape has been infiltrated, and the majority of it is on the Republican side or conservative side. Specifically, what I refer to as the Balloonati, as far as it being a conspiracy, mostly because that's just a dumb, stupid joke. But also, mostly by what I would also call neo-Confederates. Boogaloos. Let's talk about comparing Donald Trump to Obama, which is one of the things that will infuriate this person to the point of insanity. And that can be exploited. And then getting dirt on him, or arranging dirt to happen on a certain island or a certain ranch, that can be recorded and be referred to euphemistically as the P tape, a video recording containing P file content. This is something that we, if you haven't figured it out, just put a few more dots together, is very likely to have been done to an enormously large number of people. And yes, the stereotype that we've noticed that the people who make the accusations are usually guilty of it, and that a specific part of the population, the political landscape, is guilty of this specific type of content. We need to stop ignoring this and let's move on. Let's go for it. Let's just talk about the art of the deal, or the fart of the deal, Donald Trump 2026 versus 2015 Obama policies, and also it was the U.S. government, not just Obama, and their effect total by that point concerning Iran only. Americans' weapons stockpile, no effective change during Obama, so this isn't apples to apples as far as Iran. But you can make an argument there was some change, specifically has to relate to Iran, versus someone's claim that Trump has essentially depleted it, even for a short period of time, or caused a major reduction in our weapons stockpile. American wage growth, it doesn't seem to have had any effect. Again, this was an Iran deal. It had nothing to do with this. In the United States, we've been pushed backwards as far as growth in wages. Financial costs to reach a deal on a global scale. This is someone's set of assertions. Very minimal, if any, recorded for Obama. I don't believe that. I'm sure it was a larger number. But we have around $2 trillion or more so far. The effect that this has had as a cost. Okay. Additional costs to do the Obama deal with Iran versus Trump's deal, which he violated by threatening to murder the peace negotiators. So it's still ongoing. Millions of oversight and monitoring costs under Obama that was removed under the Doge process that the conservatives were all for. And again, only reason Trump did this was because Obama did it. Donald Trump has an irrational desire to undo everything Obama did. See also people in the past looking at a statue of a previous ruler and having their nose ripped off. Geopolitical risk. Under Obama, it lowered because Iran went through the things I'm going to bring up in a minute. The estimated geopolitical risk that's been escalated by Trump doing this short-term special operation against Iran on behalf of a country I'm not allowed to name because of a population that has special status in the state I'm in, that may have been giving us the orders. But this is worse than the effect of COVID so far. Okay. I can say, hopefully I can say the C word. I'm on a platform that has an escalation in censorship higher than under Biden from COVID, because Trump is mandating it. Censorship is mandated. We're under a police state. But yeah, this is a geopolitical risk that's worse than what happened with COVID. With Obama, do any of you remember a risk? Well, and then someone in the comment section is going to make up a scenario. I mean the actual outcome. Right now, we're a lot more fucked than we were when it was under Obama at bare minimum. Is it as bad as COVID as far as geopolitical risk? You decide. Direct cost, $100 billion so far to get the deal, total costs. With Obama, it was diplomacy and a lot of time and effort and putting up with people complaining, get it done, get it done, get it done. How many Americans have been injured directly in this art of the deal that involved starting a war on possibly another country's behalf? How many injuries? 500 plus. How many dead? 15 so far. The Hormuz Strait under Obama, open without restrictions or tolls. As of the publishing of this note, it was that we have tolls and controls through Iran, Oman, etc. But at the time it was open. Now it's closed again because, again, Donald Trump threatened to murder the peace negotiators. So it's closed again. Sanctions in Iran were in place under Obama's gift to the next administration at that point, while it was still in place. The JCPOA at that point, because of the entirety of the U.S. government, not Obama, okay? At the beginning. Again, Donald Trump killed all of these things originally out of spite. Not because it was a good idea, but out of spite. This is a revenge fantasy he has. And nobody's been able to really explain this. I honestly don't know. I'm assuming he was expecting one day to be in the papers and it make him look good or look powerful, and Obama was on the front page and it made him infuriated. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. It's an irrational psychotic behavior. Rent-free, he lives rent-free in Donald Trump's head. But the Iran sanctions were in place. They've been completely lifted. Sanctions about what? Here we go. Uranium stockpile. Under Obama's he calls it Obama's project. It's actually the U.S. government's project. But okay, we'll say it's Obama so we can be even more angry. There was a 98% reduction in uranium stockpile in Iran. You might want to look at where the uranium was going and who it benefited. And if you're going to say it was the evil empire or something, no, it wasn't. We were better off at that point with this project. No agreement for the stockpile because Trump doesn't want one because he destroyed the framework for doing it. The enrichment program in Iran was capped at 3.7% under the Obama plan. Again, you guys are calling it the Obama plan so we can make Trump angry and hate it more. There is no agreement on that now. They can do whatever they want to. Because when you remove the agreement, they can do what they want to. We don't own a patent or copyright to uranium. And the enrichment originally was capped at fuel grade, not weapons grade. Because it's easier, because it's a profiteering thing. Iran sanctions were in place under the Obama plan. They've been completely destroyed under Trump because he manually destroyed the agreement. There weren't sanctions. How much money was unfrozen in Iranian assets at the time? As of the publishing of this, Donald Trump has released $25 billion, and Iranian assets were unfrozen with Obama in the agreement so that we had power over their entire uranium processing and the ability to go through and look through it and do oversight, monitoring, and management. We unfroze $1.7 billion. The additional costs of millions of dollars for oversight, monitoring, and overt right to inspect, even if they weren't compliant all the time, was a better deal than $300 billion being dumped in reconstruction overtly to them because Donald Trump started a war and lost that war. This is Donald Trump's war, potentially on behalf of another country. We can't name the country, but that country has been lobbying with the United States and doing all sorts of threats back and forth to try to force us into a war with Iran for decades. Again, for some reason. And if you say, we don't want to go to war, they immediately yell an epithet claiming that you're a Nazi. That they don't have a right to exist. Anything other than, you're the ones wanting to start a war with a country that ostensibly may not be doing anything to you, and sure as fuck wasn't doing anything to us at the time. We brokered a deal. We reduced the supposed threat by 98%, capped it at 3.7, and essentially just made them give us the shit at one point. Under Obama. And that word, that uttering Obama makes Trump irrationally, truly irrationally angry. Now let's talk about him being an asset for Russia and the country that shall remain nameless, like Voldemort, because we're not allowed to say their name because the YouTube algorithm will flag my video immediately. Active measures by Russia and another country, several countries actually, to compromise people who had high-ranking positions or power, not necessarily politicians, and in one case, in the case of Trump, turn him into a politician by compelling him to do it. By coercion, by feeding him one of his fantasies, making a P-file tape, recording him doing something morally wrong, it wasn't involving bodily fluids that way, and saying, we will release this to the public if you don't do what we tell you, you are now a Manchurian candidate. Originally, his job was just to screw with the election system and weaken it. And you can see the surprise on his face when he wasn't supposed to win. Just like the last time he, as a joke, ran for president, mostly to be famous. It was a stunt. It worked. He got elected. It went too far. You can see the shock on his face when he won originally. He wasn't supposed to win. Okay, we have an incompetent, self-aggrandizing, mad Caesar who's been elected president. And then they gave him a list of shit to do. Look at every single thing Donald Trump said he was going to do, really did, pushed for, and was willing to destroy someone's life over if they didn't help him do. What were the real ones out of each of these that were the real push to accomplish? Which ones were smoke and mirrors? And what effect would they absolutely have no matter what your political bent is? And how badly fucked are we? Not just the effect, 2020 is hindsight, I'm talking about what did everybody predict would be the effect. Destroying a deal with Iran where you're saying we're afraid of them enriching uranium, this gave us the ability to do some oversight, some controls, having some say-so, and guiding them to producing power plant material instead of bombs. And also easing them into the idea that they shouldn't try to be a superpower, including an actual discussion that was had at one point why you don't want to be a superpower. You don't want to have nuclear weapons because everyone will see you as a threat, even your friends. It's not a direct quote, but it's very similar. And the people running Iran acknowledging this at one time in open discussion in their own papers, in their own publications, saying it is something like, it is not our destiny to become perceived as a threat as great as the West, or something like that. I don't know how they phrased it. And again, their behavior is not indicative of what people accuse them of. And again, it does appear that a specific country, not protected group, a specific fucking country with the ability to do good and bad, pushed for this for decades and got what they wanted. And their war, and more accurately, Trump's war, Trump lost. Obama's war of diplomacy, we won. And under the JCPOA 2015, or whatever it's called, I'm looking at notes over here. Did we have power over where that uranium went and what it was used for? Did we have some say? Did the international community have some say? And why is Trump so angry about... And I want to point out, even things like destroying part of the White House, destroying the reflecting pool. These are destructive acts that make us look symbolically bad. Who would want that? Who's behind the scenes waving a videotape of him committing a felony that has power over this asshole? Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Donald Trump, and actually the entire Republican Party, is compromised because I don't think Trump was the only one. And no, it's not both sides. The liberals weren't caught like this. That's not what happened. And please stop irrationalizing things so that you can be right in the comment section. Good day.